जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Andariki Namaskaram. I wish to begin my speech at this historic session. As Prajakavi, Batma Vibhushan, late Sri Kaloji Narayana Rao Garu wished, Moodu Kotla, Meti Prajala, Gontukokati, Korikokati, Telangana Velasi, Nilichi, Falinchale, Bharatana. My hearty congratulations and best wishes to the Honorable Chairman, Telangana State Legislative Council, and Honorable Speaker, State Legislative Assembly, and the Honorable Members of the Legislative Council and Assembly. My congratulations also go to the Legislative Assembly members who won the recently concluded elections with the people's affection and support and who have assumed their duties. My congratulations to all the new ministers. I am happy to see the new cabinet. The cabinet is a judicious combination of experience and the new and is led by a young leader. I am of firm opinion that the combination of youth and experience in the cabinet would fulfill its promises and reach its goal. My congratulations to the newly formed cabinet. I sincerely wish that your journey in the service of the people will be fruitful, full of contentment and victorious throughout your term of the office. Very soon, we are ushering in the new year. 2023 will remain in history as the year that has brought a new beginning to Telangana's journey. People are experiencing the change already. I am happy to inform you that the fruits of change will reach the people in full measure in the new year. Our government is taking steps to give freedom, liberty, equal opportunities, and social justice to people, along with making governance within the reach of each and every citizen. I am sure the state will tread the path of success, progress, and bring light to the lives of farmers, women, youth, and the poor. People in Telangana state have given a clear verdict to liberate themselves from the 10 years of repression in the recently concluded elections. Their message is clear and loud. I appreciate the collective wisdom of the people. Telangana is breathing fresh air of freedom and liberty now. Telangana is liberated from autocratic rule and dictatorial tendencies. The people's verdict unequivocally stated that it would not tolerate any repression. This verdict became a cornerstone for civil rights and democratic rule. The iron barricades that divided the rulers from the people have been dismantled. I feel proud to say that the glass houses and the obstacles have been removed and the true people's governance has begun. The Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Anumula Revanth Reddy Garu, at the time of swearing in, clearly indicated his government's aims and objectives. He made it abundantly clear that in a democracy, the rulers are the people's servants and they are not feudal lords. Our governance is moving forward and taking steps in this direction. The Prajavani program is the first step in this direction. This is people's government and it is people's governance. People can express their problems and get their grievances redressed by the government at any time. Now the situation is such that each and every member of society can proudly declare that this is their government. Our governance will soon become a role model for the entire country. The Telangana state was formed as per the aspirations of 4 crore people. The supreme sacrifices of the youth and the relentless struggle of students, my government is on the firm view that elected governments should govern, keeping in view the sacrifices made by people, and they should act with the utmost responsibility. My government's aim is to govern, keeping in view the aspirations of martyrs, the struggles undertaken by the students, and the desire of civil society. I convey that the present elected government thanks all the people, parties, leaders, and then UPA government and the then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh for creating a separate Telangana state in 2014. Respecting the decades-old aspiration of people, on behalf of 4 crore Telangana people, the present government thanks Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, the then chairperson of UPA, for the key role she played in the process of creating Telangana into a separate state. I once again pay my humble tributes through this house to the martyrs who laid down their precious lives. At the time of elections, we gave word to the people that we would get Indrama Rajyam in Telangana. We made it clear that there would not be any repression or dictatorial tendencies in the governance. We have declared 6 guarantees for the welfare and development of the people. In time, with promises made, Chief Minister Sri Revanth Reddy Garu signed the file giving legal sanctity to the 6 guarantees soon after his swearing in. This proved the commitment and dedication of our government. My government is taking the first step along the path of welfare for the people of the state. My government will stand by each and every promise it has made. Within 48 hours of entering the governance, my government has implemented 2 out of 6 guarantees. My government's aim is to make women in Telangana state prosperous as Mahalakshmis. As part of this, women are given free travel facility in the RTC buses, and I am happy to inform you that this free travel scheme came into being on December 9th. Other promises made under the Mahalakshmi scheme will be implemented very soon. My government has a definite plan to provide better medical and health services to the poor. No one should lose his or her life because he or she is poor. My government's topmost priority is public health. Hence, the government has revamped the Rajiv Arogya scheme, which was implemented during the Congress regime in the past. Rajiv Arogya became very popular and talked about in the country. I am happy to inform you that Rajiv Arogya was revised, keeping in view of the increase in medical expenses and to suit to the present day needs, and its services are broadened. Under the new Rajiv Arogya scheme, the poor can avail medical facilities up to 10 lakhs. My government has started the implementation of the second guarantee in this manner. This will provide Shakkar to poor and middle class families to a great extent. The government will lay out a definite and time-bound action plan to implement other guarantees promised in the poll manifesto, such as Mahalakshmi scheme, Raitu Bharosa, Griha Jyoti, Indrama houses, Yuva Vikasam, and Chayuta within 100 days of its governance. The government is dedicated to implement each and every promise it made in the party manifesto, and the government will stand by it. The government is making this promise through this house as a witness. Let me inform people through this house that the administration is actively preparing an action plan based on the promises made in the poll manifesto. We are assuring people in the state that we will implement the Varangal declaration made for farmers, the Hyderabad Yuva declaration made for youth, the SC and ST declaration announced in Chevella, and the BC declaration promised in Kamareddy and its letter and spirit very soon. As promised, we will identify the families of martyrs, allot them 250 square yards of the houses sites, and also pay them a honorarium. Our government is committed to provide quality, uninterrupted power supply to the agriculture sector. As promised in the declaration, we will give a minimum support price for each and every crop. There will be an action plan to waive the farm loans to the tune of rupees 2 lakhs. As promised during the elections, we will take up an action plan to give pattas to the assigned lands and podo lands. We have promised people that we will order an inquiry into the irregularities committed and lack of quality and corruption in the construction of the Medigatta and Annaram barrages of Kalishwaram project. Our action plan will be in this direction. The government is committed to protecting and getting Telangana state's rightful share of Krishna river water. Our aim is to get national status for the Palamuru Rangareddy irrigation project, which is a boon to South Telangana. Our government has decided to complete the project and make Palamuru, Nalgonda and Rangareddy districts into a fertile districts. Our government's aim is to complete the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Paraminta Chavella project started in the previous Congress regime and provide irrigation water to the upper region of the Adilabad and other districts. We will implement each and every promise we have made to the youth. We will fill up the teachers' post by conducting the mega DSC within the 6 months. We are happy to inform you that the government has already begun the exercise to clean up the TSPSC. We will take steps to fill up 2 lakh vacancies within 1 year. Our government will soon be launching an action plan to provide house sites to the homeless and give rupees 5 lakh financial assistance for the construction of houses under the Indrama housing scheme. Under this scheme, SCs and STs will get 1 lakh additional amount. My government has observed that a majority of the complaints received under Prajavani are land related. This is the reason why during the elections we have promised that we will replace Dharani portal and its place the Bhumata portal, which will be introduced, which will be transparent and solve all land related issues. I am happy to inform you that very soon an action plan will be put in place in this regard. We will constitute a land commission to protect government lands. The poor will be given rights to the 25 lakh acres of land distributed by the previous Congress government as part of the land reform program. My government has decided to take stringent measures against the use of banned drugs and narcotics in the state and to totally eradicate them. The government is very keen to totally eradicate the narcotic drug menace. Like the elite and exclusively greyhounds and the octopus, a full-time director is appointed to the Telangana State Anti-Narcotic Bureau. My government's action plan started is not just to control the drug mafia, but to totally eradicate them. In Telangana state, there should be no mention of or talk about the banned drugs. The government is very serious about the matter as it is harming the youth and destroying their career and future. I am making it very clear from the House that no one will be spared if they are accused in the drug case. Hyderabad is not only a capital for Telangana state, but also a perennial revenue resource that generates income for the welfare and development of the poorer sections of society. Hyderabad got this financial strength because of the previous Congress-led governments which developed it to reach this goal. For information technology to metro rail, Shamshabad International Airport to ORR, and the entire world-class infrastructure was planned and developed during the Congress governments. Hyderabad's topography would have undergone a sea change had it its ITIR project and announced by the then UPA government. In 2013 came into being. My government is now trying to bring back this past glory. We have launched an action plan to clean up the Musi River and turn its catchment area into an employment generation zone. Our government's aim is to develop the city in all directions. My government is committed to decentralizing of development in Telangana state. The government is planning to divide the state into 3 zones with Hyderabad as the center. One zone in Hyderabad city, which is inside the outer ring road, and the second zone in the area between the ORR and the proposed regional ring road, and the third zone is outside the regional ring road. Our government will prepare plans accordingly. Owing to the bad governance of the previous government, the power utilities are in deep financial crisis with a staggering debt of rupees 81,516 crore. They have incurred losses of rupees 50,275 crore. Similarly, the Civil Supplies Corporation has rupees 56,000 crore as debt and rupees 11,000 crore as losses. Each and every department has incurred huge debts. Loans raised indiscriminately from every corporation have pushed the state into financial mess and crisis. The entire financial discipline in the state is destroyed. There is no fiscal discipline or financial prudency. My government is focused on strengthening the derailed financial situation. We will place before the people the financial condition of each and every department by releasing white papers and show them the real facts. We will be releasing the white papers as part of transparent government that will promised to the people. To the greatest challenge before my government as on date is to improve financial situation in the state on a war footing. We are on the job to identify lacunae that took place in the financial management where wasteful expenditure is indulged in and where financial irregularities took place. Without putting a financial burden on the people, we want to bring in financial prudence and offer governance and welfare to the people. This is our government's aim and goal. In the last 9.5 years, all the institutions have been destroyed. The institutions and organizations that should work democratically have been unfortunately degraded to serve individuals. We will not augur well in a democracy where institutions indulge in individual worship. My government has decided to change this trend and situation. We will restore the core values of the legislature and executive. We have no qualm about talking constructive criticism from the opposition parties. Our government will not discriminate with regard to development. In my government, legislatures from any party can seek help and cooperation for the development of their assembly constituencies. We will usher in transparency in governance and administration. The secretariat will not be mere decorative symbol. We will respect the constitutional institutions. This is not a feudal rule. We will instill confidence in people that this is real democracy. Our government will render justice to all those sections that were subjected to discrimination and oppression. The government will stand by them. We will take into consideration all sections of people, farmers, students, employees, the poor, SC, ST, BC, minorities, retired employees, martyrs' families, people who took part in separate Telangana statehood movement, workers, etc. And welfare and development action would be based on these sections. The action plan with regard to the job calendar will be in tune with promises made. As far as rural development is concerned, the past government has only confined itself to propaganda. The previous government made the elected representatives of the local bodies nominal without any power or value. It had not paid the bills for the works that they had completed and putting them to severe debts. We have seen some of these local body representatives committing suicides. We will set the situation right. The government will take each village as a unit and plan accordingly for the development. If a farmer has some money in his pocket, the village will prosper. A farmer is key to the development of a village and its progress. My government's main aim is to strengthen farmer economically, thereby making each and every village prosperous. Local body representatives will be given their due respect. We remember the wisdom of the father of the Indian Constitution, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Democracy is not merely a form of government. It is essentially an attitude of respect and reverence towards fellow men. My government believes in more action and fewer words. You will see this change in these days, months and years to come. I wish to conclude my speech with the two famous lines from the legendary poet and the freedom fighter, Sri Dasharathy Garu. ఆ చల్లని సముద్ర గర్భం దాచిన బడబాలన మెంతో బాణల మెంతో ఆ నల్లని ఆకాశంలో కానరాని భాస్కరలెంతరో. It's okay. ఆ చల్లని సముద్ర గర్భం దాచిన బడబానల మెంతో ఆ నల్లని ఆకాశంలో కానరాని భాస్కరులెంతరో. In this context, let us remember and pay our tributes to all the martyrs, fighters, and unsung heroes of Telangana and dedicate ourselves for the all-round development of Telangana state. Jai Bharat, Jai Telangana.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदा। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
So we are going to have 7 temples here. In
that.
this area, just outside Perkota, there will be separate temples, not together. 7 separate temples will be built. कि इस पूरे स्ट्रक्चर में आयरन कहीं नहीं इस्तेमाल हुआ है, क्योंकि आयरन की लाइफ जो है वो 94-95 ईयर्स होती है. हम तो 1000 ईयर्स का टेम्पल बना रहे हैं. 3500 labor is working day and night. People of my generation, even your generation, younger generation, and many generations who have gone, they never ever thought that the Ram temple will be a reality. Not a single pie has come from any government agency for the construction of the temple. The first Land Acquisition Act, it was implemented with the advice, aid and advice of ministers and myself. But the beauty of this Prime Minister is, when I went to tell him that please do not issue the third ordinance on this matter, he looked at me. He said, "You are telling me?" Not even once he would use the word, "You guys are responsible."
Take
He
the fall.
takes the full responsibility for what happens. His speech on my farewell, I couldn't believe. I was in tears. The cabinet ministers and secretaries to the government who were invited, they couldn't believe. Prime Minister spoke for 45 minutes and he spoke only about me.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing with people who you think will benefit from these conversations. My guest today has been entrusted with the task of completing the construction of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. Mr. Nripendra Mishra is one of the most experienced bureaucrats of our times. He was Principal Secretary in the Prime Minister's office from 2014 to 2019. In the second term of Prime Minister Modi, when Mr. Mishra asked that he be relieved of his duties in the PMO, the Prime Minister accepted his resignation and tweeted, "Nripendra Mishra is among the most outstanding officers who has a great grasp of public policy and administration. When I was new to Delhi in 2014, he taught me a lot and his guidance remains extremely valuable." Unquote. Mr. Mishra couldn't really hang up his boots because he was soon appointed as the chairman of the Executive Council of the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, and then as chairman of the Ayodhya Ram Mandir Construction Committee. So let's get chatting with the man himself who's entrusted with this task. He has to complete the construction of the Ram Temple by January 2024. Mr. Mishra, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. I'm delighted that you could find the time and come to the studio here because I know that the deadlines are really sharp with the Pran Pratishtha to happen in January 2024. So I'm guessing that your work is like literally 24/7 to keep an eye on everything. But before I begin to ask you about the timelines and the construction process, one question which, for our overseas viewers and for our young viewers who are not very aware, would I say, of what it means to install a deity, what it means to do a Pran Pratishtha. It's not just bringing a deity and keeping there. What does the process mean? I know neither you nor I are priests, but a person who's the man in the hot seat, I'd want you to explain a little bit about what the process is.
Actually, it's a good question. And as you said, particularly for those who are not in some manner sort of educated will be a wrong word, but they have not yet, have developed the kind of belief that people who are there and are attached with the temple will have. So now the process is that consecration means that the murti which is being sculpted today at the moment in Ayodhya, and hopefully it will be ready by middle of December, and we are going to have one of the three which is being sculpted there. So that will start its journey of consecration sometime around the second week of January. The journey starts with a dip in Saryu River.
The Murti will be
Yeah.
taken to the Saryu River.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it could be any date, I am not sure, because that is the area which trust looks after. And more particularly, as you said, the priests would be taking care of that. But after the journey and to that place, it is believed that Lord, the child Ram, would like to visit the various temples which existed then
Okay.
in Ayodhya.
Prachin Mandir.
Yeah. So whatever temples are there today in Ayodhya, in the form of a procession, Lord would be, child Ram would be going in some kind of a chariot and stopping at some of the key temples of Ayodhya. And then finally, the deity or the whatever is carved, child Ram, that will enter the premises of the temple area.
So in this, it will enter from the eastern gate. Is that the eastern gate? It's not decided as yet?
Yeah. This is, the eastern gate is this, and the devotees would
Enter from there.
enter from there.
And where will the deity be?
Yeah, so I am coming to that, to your question. The entrance for the child Ram, the chariot will enter from
Oh,
this portion.
okay, not from here.
No.
Okay.
And of course, it is not open to public.
Ah.
The whole ceremony is not open to public. It will somewhere take place very early in the morning.
Okay.
And then the deity will be placed in the sanctum sanctorum.
Garbhagriha.
You know, yeah. So it's a 3-story structure.
Is that structure complete?
Only the ground floor.
Okay.
What we have promised is that the ground floor, which is here, going like this, along with 5 mandap, these are mandaps,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
5. Along with the 5 mandaps will be ready in January of 2024.
Right. I interrupted you, sir. So it will be taken to the Garbhagriha.
Right. And it enters the Garbhagriha, and what they do is, the belief is that the Pran Pratishtha would enable the Lord to see the devotees, and the devotees would be able to worship the Lord. So for that time, some kind of a band on his eyes, that is put. So from the date the entry is there, till the date of consecration, that is there, the band.
How interesting.
And it really is opened when the Pran Pratishtha consecration has taken place. And the belief is that from then on, he attains the qualities of a Lord, of a God, or supernatural person.
Okay.
So that is the belief. So transferring from a normal to a exceptional is the process which is consecration prayers. And final chanting of mantras, opening of the band, and then he is now exposed to the world and universe. That is the final consecration, which will be on 22nd of January 2024.
Right. Two questions that emerge, which I'm sure people who haven't followed it in the news completely would have, is what you said is that the idol is being sculpted right now in Ayodhya, one of the three idols. So then that needs to be explained to some of our viewers who don't know the details, because many would say that isn't Ram Lalla's idol already there, baby Ram's idol already there, so why is it being sculpted? And if there's a new idol which is coming, what happens to the earlier idol?
It is true, the belief is, and this belief is from 1947-49, that Ramlala appeared there. That is the belief. So that is the present in a temporary hut meant which is there, the Lord is there. And the prayer of that Lord Ram, child Ram, has been going uninterrupted. You may be surprised to know that since 1947, when the first news flashed in Ayodhya that the Lord has appeared at this place, the prayer, regular prayers of the Lord has never been interrupted. Now, your question that you already have a Lord, then why do you want to have another Lord? It's true. We thought of it. One reason was that people who will come now will have a darshan from a certain distance, which will be minimum about 25 to 30 feet. So in order to meet the eyes of the Lord with the person who is doing the prayer, and in order to see the feet of the Lord, there has to be another creation, another Lord which has to be sculpted. And that is why it was decided that we'll have a standing statue.
Correct. I've seen a Ram Lalla statue. I've been to Ayodhya a couple of times, and I've had the good fortune to see it. I saw it as a journalist, to see that what is it that made so much news. Can I see the statue? तो बड़ी मुश्किल से पहली बार I went out there to see it, and when I saw Ram Lalla, I was like, इतने छोटे एक तो दिखाई भी नहीं दे रहे थे, because वो एक केज सा बना हुआ था, तो वो दिखते नहीं है, और वो यूं देखते हैं, and within a few minutes you have to leave, you see, because the security was so high at that point of time, because there was so much threat to that area. और वो वैसे भी जर्नलिस्ट जब आते हैं तो the security forces are suspicious of us. तो छोटा सा, and you can barely see the Lord. बहुत छोटे हैं, the मूर्ति is very little.
At the moment, all those who come
जी.
hardly get to see.
Huh.
In fact, they only see it on the television screen.
Oh.
Because there is a television. So while moving on,